All right, you can't see it, but I have visual confirmation that this chest day is about to be fucking electric. If you're up in Ohio, then you would know that the last few days have just been thunderstorm central. Like, more than normal. 2 days of rain and lightning are, it'll happen, but more than 3 in a row, I feel like is a little wild. But that's just kind of cool. So, haven't been laying out in the sun because it's been so cloudy and overcast. I would prefer it could be a little fucking sunnier. I don't know if you can see that. There's like a tiny fly that's been, I can't get it out. I open the windows and it does not, I don't know, it's resilient. It wants to be in here. But, yeah. Nah, it's cool. Literally riding straight into the goddamn belly of the beast with this pre-workout drive. But headed down to Pro's Gym, and I wish they had like a sign. I don't think did I sign that one gym wall down in Vegas? This was a little while ago. You got to be watching for a while. It was a chest workout with Jay Cutler, and we're in the back section of God, I forget the gym. But the gym had a big black wall covered in IFBB Pro signatures. And at the time, I was not a pro yet. So we had a little moment. I'm like, I'll come back. I'll come back and put my name up here. Pro's Gym should have the same freaking thing. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, playing for chest. Hard to say specifically. Probably not inclined barbell. I think I'm going to end up sticking with machines today. Maybe a little lighter squeezing. And beyond that, well, just kind of go by feel. And I think some people hear that and think improvised workout. They think no plan. They think, well, what the hell is this guy doing? Which I could see the critique, of course. But, don't forget, I've had a pretty substantial amount of workouts in my day. So it's essentially, and this is the worst description ever. I don't like that I'm even thinking like this, but it's as though you've just, I was about to make it like a large language model reference. I don't know, I can explain it for real. But if you've done something for long enough, right? If you go to the same restaurant multiple times in a row, or, every Friday or whatever, well, then you know what to order. And you definitely know what not to order, right? You know what to avoid. And sometimes you pick something good and you say, hell yeah, man, made a good choice. This is awesome. Sweet. Right, now you know that thing is good. Ooh, should not have ordered the, I remember one time I was at like this, not fancy, kind of fancy. I was just at this Italian restaurant, and I got, I'm dieting at the time, so I'm like, all right, what can I get here? Ooh, something grilled salmon. All right, I guess that's okay. And it was just, it had like this mint pesto all over it. Not good. That was a situation where I said, I won't be ordering that again. I have learned my lesson. So with the gym, I'm going to come in and warm up and get my rotator cuffs loose and, get my lats and my chest and my triceps and my forearms and basically everything that's going to be involved with a pressing motion. I want to get warm at least a little bit so that I know when I get under, however many plates on a machine or however many pins of weight worth of weight on a cable press. Like, once I really get into that, I'm not going to tweak anything. Or at least I've made my best attempt not to. Sometimes it can't be prevented, and that's just the way it is. I mean, there's guys who you would say are, conventionally quite smart who have torn their pecs before. Shit. Sometimes shit happens. But I'm going to try my best not to let shit happen. Let's put it like that. So if I warm up and I start thinking, okay, all right, I'm getting the feeling that a converging plate-loaded chest press is going to be a really good start for today. Well, that's probably what I'm going to do. And then, maybe 2 or 3 sets of those. Okay, I've just now done, let's say, a heavy, moderate rep range set. Oh, that lighting was fucking nuts. If I just finished one of those, well, maybe I want to change it up and do a light squeezing, maybe higher volume set. You know, maybe do some cable, just like full peck lower flies. That's not the right name. I'm just going to describe whatever. Where it's like 1/3 of the tension in my chest worth of weight, and I do 30 reps instead of failure at 10. You know, or I do 15, or I do a drop set, or I do whatever. You know, things like that. And there's kind of two different motivations that I have to pick a machine. One, I'm going to say, I have done this in the past and it felt good, so I know it will probably feel at least okay today. Right? Basing the situation directly on past experience. And then there's kind of this predictive choice where it's, all right, well, what did I just do? Did I just do heavy pressing? Let's change it up. And what else is there, right? We've got heavy pressing, we've got what I would call light squeezing pressing, and then we've got flies. And in a subsection of flies, there are also heavy flies and lighter flies. So as long as I just kind of bounce between those genres and I don't just repeat the exact same thing, and on a lift by lift basis, I do workouts in different ways, in different orders, well, then I feel like I'm doing something right, you know? And that's where you lift for long enough, you start making, you know, very visible progress. And that just validates that what you've been doing is at least working a bit, you know? So it's not as though you shouldn't try to optimize and continue to improve. I got 20 minutes left of this drive, so I haven't drank my pre yet. So apologies for the yawn. But so it's not as though I'm not trying to change my training up and improve it and make sure I'm stimulating it well. But at the same time, you know, I know what's going to work. I know what a decent chest day looks like. And sometimes you just got to make it happen. You know, there is no benefit to, you know, to a very incredible, awesome, just super deep meaning behind a painting if the painting never gets painted, right? At the end of the day, you need to put ink to canvas to actually make this shit happen. Or I guess it'd be paint to canvas, you know. So just make sure you're drawing, right? Make sure you're laying down lines and you're putting down splotches and you're building the big picture. Because I see this far too often, and it is just a classic trope of the way that fitness is, that there's always minute details that get overhyped and over talked about, and, you know, just placed on this pedestal of value because the gym is boring. The gym is very classic, just do the same shit basically every day in a row and wait a few months for your progress. Well, that's no fun. You know, and I can understand the thought. So it makes sense that someone's going to say, well, you know what? If you want to, gains are slow, let me tell you how to speed it up, right? You got to be doing full body every other day. Hit your muscles more frequently so that you have more time to stimulate them, you know, and a million other little things like that. As though the dude who just has a badass routine and kills it 6 days a week isn't just going to keep killing it, doing what he's doing. So it's a balance of these two ideas. One, be open to new things and be open to improving your training, because as time goes on, you're supposed to change. You're supposed to be smarter. You're supposed to be more developed. But also, don't neglect the value of the consistent side of things, where the important part of this angle is just the fact that you keep doing it no matter what. Obviously, sometimes it does matter what, you know, whether the last time I had something that really mattered like that was when I got food poisoning. That was the sickest I've ever been in my life, which is kind of crazy. But, you know, that kind of got in my way. But I want to get as close to I'm going to kill it no matter what as possible. That 2%, honestly, if I do the stats, it's probably closer to 1% of days where something actually gets in the way of my training. But that 1%, I want to turn into a 0.1%. And I want to turn that then into a 0.01%. And then a 0.001%, to the point where it's That shit just ain't happening. So I'm gonna go ahead and slam my pre. Literally, if you know what I'm talking about there, Vitamin Shop exclusive, at least so far. So you look it up, vitaminshop.com. That's where you're gonna find the raw Sam Sulek Essential pre-workout. Caffeine, citrulline, beta-alanine. There is a range, because something like a Super Thavage, that's their just fully stocked, like this has absolutely every single thing that there is. It's more expensive, of course. So for $1 per scoop, or not $1 per scoop, but for $1 per dollar basis, I think you're covering your grounds well with an essential. Like, it's just it depends, and you tell me if you've ever noticed this, but when I'm dieting, I will kind of pull back a little bit in terms of all the lion's mane and the every other little crazy. Oh my goodness. Oh, either way, Vitamin Shop, search bar, Sam Sulek, should pop up. Should freaking pop up. White cherry. White cherry is the flavor there. But yeah, I got nothing else to say. I keep yawning. I better drink this thing so that when we roll up into Pro's gym, my cheeks are already tingling, my heart's pumping, and I'm ready to bring it. So I think there's nothing else to get into. Let's I'll see you for set number 1. Okay. You tell me if this is stupid or not. But I'm warming up. I think I'm about to rip the just hit some crazy heavy incline dumbbell bench. And then it's already feeling kind of heavy. And there's only 145s. There's not even 150s. So the logic in my head was like, I'm not going to hurt myself with the 145s. If there was 150s there, maybe I would have done it. But this will be a smarter move. I'm still just feeling this machine. I'm not at working weight yet. But this is, well, let me ask you, do you know what this is? Not this machine, but this style of movement. The Dora the Explorer test, the converging chest press. That's this style. Ooh. I might be able to do 4 plates on this thing. But yeah, this will be much better than dumbbell. I'm glad I called that. Yeah. Oh well, let's run that back. That feels really good. Okay. Oh, let's lose a plate. Let's do 4 on one side, 3 on the other. This machine feels awesome, so I'm gonna keep doing it until it doesn't. Whew. Why I really like this, for one, I haven't really used this machine before, so it's new, which is kind of fun, different, but the movement path is awesome, because this is a really good, like, this is honestly a perfect press, or at least it's a really good one, because it's heavy at the bottom. It's heavy all the way, but it's heavy at the bottom. I can get a really good stretch, and on my way up, now, since the handles move inward, like my hands are closer to the end at the beginning, I'm converging. So I'm not just pressing and holding like at the top. Even if I try to rest it, I'm still working my chest just to fucking hold the weight up. So I might do one more after this, I don't know. Let's see how good this one ends up being. One more. Big shout out to Eddie. We were just chatting, and he told me to use the foot pedals as self-assistance. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. One more, and then we'll move on. And now let's move on. Oh, this will be good next. Much more pumpish in execution.
Ooh, one more. One more of those will be good. I've got a different plan for this one. I'll pre-exhaust with some machine press and then jump onto this fly. So with this machine does not converge. The handles are the same width, the entire range of motion. So the stretch is fine, but there's no squeeze. So if you sit kind of at an angle and just do one arm at a time, you get a fucking crazy squeeze. At the downside of, you gotta basically do 2 sets for the price of 1. Or 1 for the price of 2. Yeah, 1 for the price of 2. But I'll go back and forth. I think 5-ish on both sides. Repeat until my chest is nearly cooked. Then finish off on the pec deck. Yeah, one. Let's go do a finisher, and we are done. I think I know what it is. Give me a moment to confirm, though. 3 plates in the Mega Mass row. Gonna get me pumped for show, you know. Let's go. I guess I should have done 4 plates. We're pumped. Let me decide. I might do a little extra something. You know, get close down. Oh my God. Let's find a mirror. All right, I certainly hope I don't have to trim any of this out due to copywritten music, but let's do a little bit of a set-by-set breakdown. Was that 4 or 5 sets of that initial press in the beginning? Definitely wasn't 3. I know that fucking much. So that was nice and heavy with a really solid, like, squeeze and hold at the top of every rep. which honestly is probably the most important part of that fucking set. At least of that, fucking style. The technical difficulties here. I want to make sure we're in properly freaky lighting as well as properly freaking in focus. There we go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. A little too sideways for that one. And a back pose, just as the little check-in. So, that is what I call a fucking chest day. Midsection, still feeling rather grainy. I feel like I'm just coming in tight. So, when I get leaner in the midsection, for one, you start to see your frontal abs a little bit more. But you get this band of like, just interesting looking obliques, which is honestly much more impressive than just like a triple ab setup right in the middle. Let me see if I can really like creep them out. Well, something like that. But I got nothing else to say. I do have one more thing to do, and that doing is 45 fucking minutes of something. The bike. The freaking bike. I'm not feeling 45 minutes of the Stairmaster after hitting legs yesterday. So the bike will do me good. I was smart enough to bring a spare shirt to change into, because just from chest, this one is already cooked. So I'll do a little pat dry, get a clean shirt on, and I'll see you freaking about the car in probably about an hour-ish. There we go. Every time I do that, I'm just making sure the audio is working. I see there's a little audio bar. I'm not just making a totally random sound. But who has 2 thumbs, just got a badass pump, and did 1 hour on the seated bike, right? Guess freaking who? And who is fucking plagued by these 2 flies? God damn it. It's not the fly. It's the fact that when I edit this thing together, I see them buzzing around, and it just gets to me. Whatever. I don't have any food trash in here either. I've got a couple of pre-workout gallons, but I don't think a pre-workout gallon should be giving me a fly. I don't know. I got to clean out that clutter anyway. But either way, the day has started off rather well. Now it is, I was out before the sun was up, which is good for me. Ended up taking a bit longer hanging out with Teague. I told him we were going to come in at 8, but then I was up at 5 and I was awake. Like, I'm not going back to sleep. So if you're presented with that, let's just say, situation where you wake up extra early before your alarm, all right, what do I do? Do I go back to sleep and potentially kill, maybe oversleep and kill some extra time, or do I just get started?
do I just get started and take on the day a little bit earlier than I had planned? Typically, that's not a bad move. Typically, that is not a bad move in my head, at least. Because all that does is, I mean, shit, I'd rather be early than late. I think that's a pretty accurate statement for me to say. I don't know if you can relate to it so much. What do you think? God, they're still in here. I'll just try to forget about it. But that was good. I'm glad I didn't end up doing that incline chest, incline dumbbell. Probably would have been too much weight. I'm a little bit fatigued. I can feel it just relative from just kind of across the board after that Florida trip. Mainly flight days, jumping straight into the gym. Food, I was eating, but the food was not necessarily ideal. Like when I'm home, having a very consistent, I don't even want to say meal plan, but just food structure does add to your, let's call it your momentum. And this is something that I think doesn't get a lot of hype, so I'll get into it now. But there is a serious benefit to building momentum with your routine. And I don't just mean like, if you do one good habit per day, or if you do one good thing per day, you'll make it a habit. Like, I'm not talking about shit like that. I'm talking about getting fucking strong and sticking to your macros and just feeling good, and having your digestion timed the right way so that you never feel like you're gonna be sick in your workouts or anything like that. I'm talking like the practical benefits of a good routine, and that's just gonna come from a baseline consistency, right? Give a guy Cane's, Crumble, Chipotle, Wendy's, and a variety of is Doritos owned by Coke? Either way, of like chips and snacks like that on the regular, and odds are you're gonna show me a guy whose stomach is really weird, net recovery probably not ideal, sleep potentially not ideal, hydration off, sodium off the charts relative to the amount of water that he's drinking. It's just not good, right? You're asking for trouble. Now you show me somebody who's got 5 pounds worth of cooked ground beef in their fridge, ready to be portioned out at a moment's notice. You show me a guy who's got rice cakes in his cupboard, which are being constantly replenished because the guy's slamming a good amount of rice cakes, be it oatmeal, cream of wheat, cream of rice, just more basic kind of carbs. And then in terms of treats, I'm making room for treats for this guy. Maybe make it a low-fat yogurt bar. You ever heard of Yasso? Macros are going solid. So 14 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fats for a little, caramel, salted caramel type deal. It tastes pretty good. Doesn't throw the guy's stomach off. I think you may or may not know, but that second guy is me, and I'm waking up feeling solid. Then you put the cherry on top and give the guy a gallon jug as his sidekick at all times, and he's at least getting through a gallon a day, if not maybe a little more than that. Well, odds are he's not going to feel bloated, and he's not going to feel like he's holding onto a lot of water, because he's given himself enough hydration and fluids to potentially flush any unnecessary sodium or whatever out and be hydrated for his workouts. Well, that's a good state of being. That is a very good state of being. And for me, what at least I've noticed is every day that I do what I know I want to do, cardio, train, eat in a decent way, well, that builds up my momentum, and I just come into the gym feeling like I'm on my game. And not even just into the gym, but I feel like I'm just going around life feeling like I'm on my game, like I'm waking up fresh and I'm sleeping good. So you tell me. But I feel like the practical benefits of having a solid routine and diet, they just don't get talked about enough, So to put a cap on all that, stay hydrated, get some fluids in your system. Don't eat anything too insanely crazy, salty and oily. If you're gonna have a cheat day, honestly, if you can stick to straight carbs, it's probably your best bet, because you're probably not going to deposit much of those carbs as fat anyway. You're just going to store them as glycogen, Now you're going to be full as shit for the next workout, so you better bring it. But it's a little bit of a better approach. You know, the locked-in lifter can handle an extra 500 grams of carbs far better than he can handle an extra 200 grams worth of fats and fried foods or things like that. But yeah, badass lift. So now all I got to do is go get some food in my system. Actually, that's kind of it. I gotta get some food in my system, maybe take a post-workout nap. So I will see you tomorrow for some back. I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I know that wherever it ends up being, my back will be pumped wide and hopefully grainier than the last time. So I'll see you for that.